Hi there and welcome to the 8th passage of this series, and here I am on your screen right now. Sir, my name is Vikrant. I am your personal coach for all things related to English, communication, mental aspects of preparation. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe. So let's go ahead and dive into it. You know how we work. It's the 8th passage after all. In case you are new, I'll nonetheless tell you that basically, you go ahead and attempt the passage along with the questions on your own, and after that you and I go ahead and work together while solving this particular passage. So what you do is that you pause when I ask you to pause, you read whatever is on the screen if it's a passage. On the other hand, if it is the question, you go ahead and solve it. Okay, so let's get ready. So pause, read. Next. 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 Okay, now that you're done with the passage, it is time for the questions. So pause it, answer, and then we'll move on. Next, question number 2. Next, question number 3. Pause, answer. Next. So I hope you have gone on to answer all of these questions. Now is the time for us to go ahead and read the passage together and discuss every question, every answer threadbare. So here is the passage for us. Humans today make music. Think beyond all the qualifications that might trail after this bold statement. Okay, so I think the first sentence is pretty self-explanatory. Humans today make music. Think beyond all the qualifications that might trail after this bold statement. Okay, so what do you mean by a bold statement? A bold statement is in plain language and contains no extra explanation or information. So for example, if I say the announcement came in a bold statement from the official news agency, or the bold truth is that he's not happy. So notice, no extra explanation, no extra information. And if you qualify a statement, it means that you are making that statement less general. You are limiting that statement to a certain boundary. So in a way, to limit the strength or the meaning of a statement, to reduce the scope of the statement. So fair enough. So when you say think beyond all the qualifications that might trail after this bold statement, you think of all the other explanations or information that are going to get added. Things like that only certain humans make music. So you say humans today make music, but then somebody would say not everyone. There are only a few of us that make music, or that extensive training is involved in making music, or that many societies distinguish music specialists from non-musicians. It's fine. That in today's societies most listen to music rather than making it, and so forth. So all of these are basically what? These happen to be the qualifications. Things that add to this statement and limit the scope of its interpretation. Okay. These qualifications, whatever their local merit, are moot in the face of the overarching truth that making music, considered from a cognitive and psychological vantage, is the province of all those who perceive and experience what is made. So there is a word here, right? Moot. Moot means not important or not relevant, and therefore not worth discussing. So for example, if I say, yaar, we don't even have money to afford a bike, so the discussion about which car to buy is a moot discussion. Means that it is not a discussion which is really relevant. So when you say these qualifications are moot, they are irrelevant in the face of the overarching truth if you look at it from the cognitive and psychological viewpoint. So if you look at it from these perspectives, you would realize that music is the province of all those who perceive and experience what is made. We are almost all of us musicians. So we are musicians. everyone who can entertain to a beat, not necessarily dance, as long as you have that understanding of that, that beat. Everyone who can recognize a repeated tune, not necessarily sing it, just the fact that you can recognize is enough. Who can distinguish one instrument or one singing voice from another. If you can do these, you're a musician. I will often use an antique word recently revived to name this broader musical experience. Humans are musicking creatures. It's an old word that the author is now bringing back into fashion, giving life to this word again. Next, the set of capacities that enables musicking is a principal marker of modern humanity. So the capacities that allow musicking is a principal marker. It's an important capacity or set of capacities for modern humanity. There is nothing polemical in this assertion. Now, what do you mean by polemical? Guesses? Polemical is, so if you talk about a piece of writing or speech as polemical, it strongly attacks a particular position or it strongly defends a particular position. It can be an opinion, person, idea, set of beliefs. So very strongly attacking or defending. So there is nothing polemical in this assertion. So he's saying that when I say this, there is nothing that strongly attacks or defends a set of beliefs except a certain insistence, which will figure often in what follows, that musicking be included in our thinking about fundamental human commonalities. So all he says is that I insist that musicking, the ability to make music, the way it is defined in the previous paragraph, it should be included in our thinking about fundamental human commonalities. So, you and I both are humans. There are certain things that are common to us. That is why we are put into a particular category called humans. So musicking is also as fundamental as, say, those other characteristics that we use to recognize humans. That's something that is common to all of us. Capacities involved in musicking are many and take shape in complicated ways arising from innate dispositions. Innate is something inbuilt. Innate is something that you're born with. It is a part of your natural abilities. So most of these capacities overlap with non-musical ones, though a few may be distinct and dedicated to musical perception and production. Okay, so there are certain capacities. Most of them, these overlap with other things would basically mean that, hey, you have a particular ability, but that particular ability could make you good in multiple areas, right? So let's say you are good at communication. So if you're good at communication, then it is something that can make you good at public speaking. It can also make you good at persuading, and ironically, that may also help you in being a good reader and a good listener. So there are different things where it may help you. So similarly, the capacities that make you a musicking creature, they may overlap with non-musical ones, though some could be distinct. So in the area of overlap, linguistic capacities seem to be particularly important. So we're saying musicking and linguistic capacities, our ability to use language, there is a significant overlap there, and humans are in principle language makers in addition to music makers. Speaking creatures as well as musicking one. Okay, then humans are symbol makers too. So the previous paragraph told us we are language makers, we are music makers, we are symbol makers too, a feature tightly bound up with language, not so tightly with music. You realize that when we write an alphabet, okay, you write A, B, C, what exactly are these? They're just symbols, right? These symbols allow us to capture our language, our sounds on a piece of paper. Some 300 BC ago, there were people who used symbols like these. We are still, even today, trying to decipher what they mean. But then, their symbols, they were just designed to capture our language on a piece of paper, in the case of 300 BC on a piece of rock. So symbol making goes hand in hand with language. It is not that closely aligned with music. The species Cassira dubbed Homo symbolicus. Humans use symbols, right? So they cannot help but tangle musicking in webs of symbolic thought and expression, habitually making it a component of behavioral complexes that form such expressions. Oh, okay, so because we are symbol makers, because it is part of our nature, we are even bringing that into the world of music making. But in fundamental features, musicking is neither language-like nor symbol-like, and from these differences come many clues to its ancient emergence. Okay, next, if musicking is a primary shared trait of modern humans, then to describe its emergence must be to detail the coalescing of that modernity. So coalescing is where different things come together and fuse and become one. So if musicking is a primary shared trait of modern humans, then if you look at its origins, then that origin will tell you where that modernity, modern humans, where that modernity started. This took place, archaeologists are clear, over a very long duration, at least 50,000 years or so. More likely something closer to 200,000, depending in part of what that coalescence is taken to comprise. If we look back 20,000 years, a small portion of this long period, we reach the lives of humans whose musical capacities were probably little different from our own. Now, you basically know little essentially means no. So, our musical abilities and the musical ability of somebody who was born 20,000 years ago, there is hardly a difference. As we look farther back, we reach horizons where this similarity can no longer hold. Perhaps 40,000 years ago, perhaps 70,000, perhaps 100,000. So say as you go back further, you may notice some differences where you know the present day musical ability and the musical ability of that era can appear to be different. But we never cross a line before which all the cognitive capacities recruited in modern musicking abruptly disappear. So you don't reach a point, let's say, 200,000 years ago, before this is that the entire ability is gone. So unless we embrace the incredible notion that music sprang forth in full-blown glory, its emergence will have to be tracked in gradualist terms across a long period. So say, unless music just miraculously appeared in humans, at one fine day, there is this generation where nobody could make music, and then suddenly the next generation could make music in its entire glory. So that's very unlikely, right? So unless you believe in that, you'd have to agree that music or this ability developed in a gradual, slow way over a very long period. And there is this is one general feature of a history of music's emergence. The history was at once socio-cultural and biological. So there is an aspect of it which is genetic, biological. There is aspect which came from the society. The capacities recruited in musicking are many. So describing its emergence involves following several or many separate strands. So there is no common thread that you can hold and then carry it forward to the logical conclusion. You may have to go ahead and follow a lot of different strands. So let's go ahead and look at our questions now, starting with the first one. Which one of the following sets of terms best serves as keywords to the passage? So there have been a couple of years when this question type was very favored by the examiner. So this is more or less what? A question type that is linked with the main idea, a question type that is linked with our ability to create a mental overview of the passage. So let's go ahead and think. What is this passage fundamentally about? Can we say it is fundamentally about musicking? Yes. So musicking, absolutely yes. So humans are music makers. The author has chosen to call them musicking in the first paragraph. So musicking, yes. Cognitive psychology, no. Cognitive psychology has not exactly been mentioned. Antique, yes, in the first paragraph the author says I would want to revive an antique word called musicking, but then antique is not a key idea, right? It's not a key word, so you can rule it out. Humans are symbol makers, we've brought that to there. Maybe modernity is not a key word, so you can rule it out. B, humans, yes. Psychological vantage, yes. Musicking, yes. Cassirer is is a person, yes, but it's not a keyword. And in fact, for that matter, even when I compare this cognitive psychology and psychological vantage, you remember there is a particular place where the author has said that if you look at it from the cognitive and psychological vantage, then we are music makers. So these are perspectives. These are two perspectives. They're not exactly keywords. And even if it were to be a keyword, you'd combine both of them, you'd not mention them individually. Humans, yes. Capacities, what capacities? We're just focusing on music making, language making, symbol making, so maybe, but then language, okay, yes. Symbols, modernity. No. And then there is a very big problem with C. It does not even talk about music making at all. So I think that is a big miss of a keyword. Without that, we'd not be able to say that it best serves as keywords. Look at D. Humans, okay. Musicking, yes. Linguistic capacities, we are language makers, yes. Symbol making, yes. Modern humanity, yes, because this capacity is relevant to modern humanity. So when I compare, I think we did find some problems with A, B and C. C had a huge problem. A is inserting antique, which is not very relevant. B has cassirer, which is not a keyword. So we are able to eliminate these things, and thus D is going to be our best answer choice for question 1. Let's get into question 2. Based on the passage, which one of the following statements is a valid argument about the emergence of music or musicking? So it talks about A, anyone who can perceive and experience music must be considered capable of musicking. Okay, then B, although musicking. So basically, when you say which one of these is a valid argument about the emergence of music or musicking, then here is a relevant part that I would like to take you back to first. Okay, so we are describing its emergence, and these are the things, and here is something that I have highlighted for you. Right? So keeping this in mind, let's see. So A is consistent with the passage. A is mentioned, but it is mentioned in the first paragraph. It is mentioned to prove that, hey, humans are music makers. We are musicking creatures. It is not something which is connected to the emergence of musicking. And therefore, it is out of scope of this particular question and thus should be ruled out. Okay, B, although musicking is not language-like, it shares the quality of being a form of expression. Where is this contrast and similarity established in the passage with respect to emergence? Nowhere. Let's rule it out. 20,000 years ago, human musical capacities were not very different from what they are today. This is consistent with the passage, and it is also stated with respect to the emergence of musicking. Then D, all musical work is located in the overlap between linguistic capacities and music productions. All. Definitely not. There are some traits, some aspects which are unique to musicking, and therefore D is inconsistent. You can go ahead and rule it out. So the best answer for question number 2 will be C. Is it the absolute best? We can go ahead and sit down, create an even better argument, but if you compare the 4, unambiguously C. Then third, think beyond all the qualifications that might trail after this bold statement. In the context of the passage, what is the author trying to communicate in this quoted extract? So here is a paragraph. We have already gone ahead and read it thoroughly. So the author says that, hey, there are people who will add a lot of qualifications to say that no, not all humans today make music. But he says, think beyond all of these qualifications. Look at it from that cognitive and psychological viewpoint, and you would agree that humans today make music. So which of these options comes closest to it? So A says a bold statement is one that is trailed by a series of qualifying clarifications and caveats. No. What the sentence means is that, hey, ignore those qualifications. So A does not mention it. B, although there may be many caveats and other considerations, the statement is essentially true. So say there can be a lot of other qualifications. A lot of people would raise these questions, concerns, objections, but the statement is true. That's what it essentially means when you say think beyond. So this definitely captures that thinking beyond part. Let's look at C. Thinking beyond qualifications allows us to give free rein to musical expressions. No, it will allow us to agree to the fact that humans are musical creatures or musicking creatures. So it's the second half which is wrong. D, a bold statement is one that requires no qualifications to infer its meaning, not something that the author intended when he wrote this. So even D gets ruled out. So the best answer for us will be option B. And with that, let's get into our fourth question. Which one of the following statements, if true, would weaken the author's claim that humans are musicking creatures? So this is a reasoning based question. How do we weaken? When it comes to weakening something, weakening an argument, then in an argument you have a conclusion. Now this conclusion is based on some premises, and it may also involve some assumptions which are nothing but unstated premises. So if you want to weaken, you basically confine yourself to the level of premises and assumptions. You go ahead and create something that proves that these premises or these assumptions are not right, or they are outright wrong, right? So let us go ahead and check. So we are already given the conclusion. The conclusion is humans are musicking creatures. Which one of these weakens it? So let's go ahead. Let's look at A. Musical capacities are primarily socio-cultural, which explains the wide diversity of musical forms. Now there are two different locations that we would like to talk about. The first one is the last paragraph where it says socio-cultural and biological. So to say they're primarily socio-cultural questions that part. Moreover, there is this another part in the passage. Look at this. Musicking be included in our thinking about fundamental human commonalities. Capacities involved in musicking are many and take shape in complicated ways arising from innate dispositions. So this contradicts this innate part as well. So A proves one part that the author has used to prove that we are musicking creatures wrong. So because it proves that part wrong, we can say that it weakens. Okay, let's look at B. Non-musical capacities are of far greater consequence to human survival than the capacity for music. Can I say it is out of scope because the passage is not even focusing on which abilities of ours are more important and which are less important? Does not even talk about it. So it's irrelevant. Let's eliminate it. See, as musicking is neither language-like nor symbol-like, it is a much older form of expression. So the first part is right. The second part is not given in the passage, that it is a much older form of expression. In fact, because it is fundamental, because it differs from language or symbol, it has to be older. Is it something that the author has stated? Especially in order to prove that we are musicking creatures. The author in himself says that this is a quality which is shared by modern humans. So it's not a claim that he has made at all, and therefore this won't weaken it. D, from a cognitive and psychological vantage, musicking arises from unconscious dispositions, not conscious ones. This is consistent with the passage. These are innate dispositions, and things which are innate, things which are inbuilt, can be unconscious. So if anything, D will strengthen, and therefore D can also be ruled out. So our best answer here will be option A, and that's the one that we'd go ahead and mark as our answer. So that takes care of this particular passage. Don't forget to like the video and do subscribe to the channel. And I would want to leave you with this one thought. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. So once you've decided to prepare for the CAT, the difficult part is done. Now you just need to hang on to that thought and show up to work every day. Keep working and you definitely reach your goal. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay safe, stay focused, and most importantly, stay in touch. Do let me know how I can add even more value to your preparation. So I'll see you in the next one. Until then, have a great time.